Look at that, look at that, look at that.
Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Hope you're having a great day today. Today we'll be taking another look at the Phalanx and updating our build for the Pathogen DLC. The way you play Phalanx in this game is kinda like a Paladin in an RPG. You move in, bash some alien heads in with your shield, and then smite them with the hand of God. So come hither and heed, my brother. I shall now show you what these angelic powers can do. You will be offered a shield, my brother, forged by materials much stronger than any metal made by mere mortals. Okay, this is kind of getting ridiculous. I'll stop now. Your first ability is your shield. With this ability, you deploy a wrist-mounted shield in front of you that can tank the enemy's punishment for you. However, while deployed, your movement is severely decreased. While this may sound like a downside to your mobility, it really isn't actually. You can still dodge and start sprinting, but these actions do force you out of your shield, so be mindful of that. Also, you're not immune to grapples, so when you see an enemy about to grapple you, either shield bash them or get out of the way. Your second ability is the Shock Pulse, and we'll be taking the new Shock Ordnance Replacer perk instead. This will function as our Smite ability. Sorry. Shock Ordnance is a ranged electrical device that discharges an AoE on impact. This damage is actually pretty devastating as it can one-shot runners. The discharge also stuns anything stubborn enough to survive the impact for 2 seconds, making them sitting ducks for your teammates to handle. Not to mention that a stun can also save the life of a teammate stubborn enough to run ahead of you. The last ability is the passive, and that's called Bulwark. Bulwark activates a stacking buff after blocking damage with your shield and can stack up to 5 times. Each stack increases your damage dealt by 3% per stack, so a 15% when you have all the stacks. However, against Xenos and Pathogen, that rarely happens. Most enemies die before they can get a hit on you. I mean, you can try and get out of your way to block damage by getting closer to them, but you'll only get in the way of your teammates' fire, and it also leaves you more susceptible to getting surrounded. Stick with your teammates, you'll last longer. However, on the flip side, Bulwark is amazing when fighting against the synths, as most of their damage is range-based, so you'll be getting those buffs pretty quickly. However, since we only get a CQW and a handgun slot, our long-range options are pretty limited. Lucky for us, getting close to synths is not a problem because of the shield. With all these benefits against the synths, you'd be forgiven to only use this class against them. But what if I told you that the Phalanx is also great against the Pathogen as well? Indeed, the Phalanx is surprisingly good against the Pathogen. It blocks the explosive little critters and can even stand his ground against brutes and the new Pathogen Queen. Just watch out for the Blights and the Stalkers, they can still be pretty nasty. Before we head into the perk grid, only a small number of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you like this video and would like to see more and support the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It's free and would really help out a small YouTuber like myself. Thanks. Let's head into the perk grid, and the first thing we'll be going over is Bulwark, and as you can see, I have nothing attached to it. Not only are most perks for Bulwark subpar, they also have the clause that you need stacks of Bulwark for them to be in effect. And as I mentioned earlier, that rarely happens when fighting against Xenos. So they would just be wasted perk slots. For Shield Up, we're only taking one perk with us, and that is Shield Bash. It's a handy little CC for when you're about to get pounced, or for when you need to save an ally from a grapple. But as you can see, Shock Pulse gets the most amount of perks. That is because Shock Pulse is the most valuable ability that you have. The first thing we're going to add is Shock Ordnance. This allows us to hurl our Shock Pulse towards the enemy and stun them for 2 seconds upon impact. And after the stun, they'll also be slowed because our Shock Ordnance also leaves behind an electrical field for 10 seconds because of the Aftershock perk. And to make sure that they die quicker while inside the field, we also have the Shell Shock perk with us. Enemies hit by our Shock Ordnance take 10% additional damage from all sources. Because Shock Pulse is so important, we need to lower the cooldown as much as possible. By giving it batteries included, rapid deployment, and a quick charge 2 mod, we can lower the cooldown to 20 seconds. This means that half the time you'll have a slow on the field. Not great, but it's something. However, if you add an overstimulated card, then you'll have a slow for the entire game. And since we now have 2 ways of stunning the enemies, taking down and out is good practice. Stun with your shock ordnance and you'll do 30% extra damage to it for 2 seconds. And since you'll mostly be close to the Xenos, taking the Take a Stand perk is also a good way to boost your damage for free. However, all that increase in damage is useless unless we have a good weapon with us. The main way to deal damage with the Phalanx is going to be through your weapons, or more specifically, your CQW weapon. So we'll be taking weapon perks with us to increase our weapon's potential. Take the Technician CQW training for more reload speed and accuracy. The tighter the spread, the more pallets will hit your enemies, and the more damage you will deal. Technician CQW Mastery for more fire rate and stability. The faster you fire, the higher your DPS. Also, the more you gain from down and out, you only stun for a few seconds. Adding fire rate ensures that you can make the most of it. And CQW Mastery for more fire rate and accuracy. Alright, we've come to my favorite part. So, when everything procs, we'll get 15% reload speed, 15% stability, 30% accuracy, 30% fire rate, 45% or more damage depending on the amount of bulwark stacks and Xenos near us, and a 53% cooldown reduction on our shock ordnance. But that's not all. We give our team 10% more damage for 4 seconds when we hit an enemy with our shock ordnance, a stun through our shield and shock ordnance, and a slow field for 10 seconds. When it comes to weapons, you actually have a lot of options, but I do recommend staying away from the SMGs and the Incinerator, as the shotguns tend to do more damage. You can go with the Medved, the Plasma Discharger, the Pump Shotty, the Breaching Scattergun, the Tactical Shotgun, the Auto Shotgun, or, and this is the one that I highly recommend, the Heirloom Shotgun. The reason why is because the Heirloom Shotgun is the only shotgun that can attach the polygonal rifling mod to it, and therefore is the only shotgun that benefits not only us, but the entire team. For the Heirloom, go with the Assault Brake for more fire rate, accuracy, and stability, Expanded Reserves for more max ammo and reload speed, and a polygonal rifling mod for more fire rate and the chance to deal 10% additional damage for 5 seconds. This damage increase, along with our perks, means that you'll be doing up to 55% more damage depending on how many bulwark stacks we have and how many Xenos are near us. But not only that, we also increase our 10% extra damage for the team to 20% extra damage. Another weapon that works great for the team is the Tactical Shotgun. It can equip a laser sight to it to reveal targets, and revealing targets procs your Recon's Red is Dead perk for a team-wide damage increase of 10%. For the Tactical Shotgun, go with the Assault Brake for more fire rate, accuracy, and stability, Compound Magazines for the reload speed, magazine capacity, and fire rate on hit, and a laser sight for accuracy, weak point damage, and the ability to reveal targets. Another weapon that can increase the team's damage through the laser sight mod is the Plasma Discharger. For the Plasma Discharger, go with the Counterbalanced Brake for more fire rate, stability, and accuracy on hit, Expanded Reserves for more max ammo and reload speed, and the laser sight for accuracy, weak point damage, and the ability to reveal targets. However, I do recommend Heirloom above the other two. It deals more damage than the Tactical, and the Discharger has this weird firing mechanic. You can go with the other weapons I mentioned. The Medved and the Pump Shotty are great alternatives, but your team as a whole will lose a little bit of damage because of the loss of polygonal rifling or the laser sight. For the Pump Shotty, go with the Assault Brake, Field Reserves, and a Hybrid Sight. For the Medved, go with the Assault Brake, Expanded Reserves, and a Hybrid Sight. For the Breaching Scattergun, go with the Compensator, Compound Magazines, and a Hybrid Sight. And for the Auto Shotgun, go with the Assault Brake, Compound Magazines, and a Hybrid Sight. When it comes to the Handgun, I recommend something with a little bit more range and perhaps even some AoE ability to ensure that we don't get swarmed. And if we do, our shield will take the AoE damage for us anyway, so we're safe even when we're taking an AoE weapon. So that's why I recommend the GL Conversion as your handgun of choice. The conversion can do a staggering amount of AoE damage thanks to the Reverberator Tubular Magazine that increases the AoE damage by 30%, aside from also giving you reload speed and magazine capacity, and it can also attach a polygonal rifling mod to it, increasing the damage by another 10%. Adding our perks to it, the conversion can do up to 70% extra damage. That is Demolisher level increases to our AoE damage that we can use even up close, because our shield absorbs the damage, remember? This is a great way to clear areas of those pesky runners. Use the conversion on them and switch to your heirloom once a blue veteran or a red elite shows up. However, AoE in this game can be a double-edged sword, so if you're reluctant to take one, I understand. There are some alternatives that can still help you out. Weapons like the Frontier Revolver, the Kramer Magnum, and the Combat Pistol are great alternatives. For the Frontier Revolver, take the Compensator, Expanded Reserves, and a Hybrid Sight with you. For the Kramer Magnum, take the Compensator, Drop Magazine, and a Laser Sight. And for the Combat Pistol, take the Compensator, Drop Magazines, and a Hybrid Sight. And for consumables, always take Cryo Grids with you for more CC, and a Vulnerability Assessment Drone for more team-wide DPS. If someone else is taking drones, you can swap yours up for a hardened electroshock turret. And this is the Paladin build for the Phalanx. With it, you can tank for your allies, dish out a lot of damage, and debuff the enemies in order to carry your team through missions. And thanks so much for watching, and if you like this build and you want to see more Aliens Fireteam Elite builds, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss another upload. And I'll see you when I see you.
Buckle in, shore party. We're burning to escape debris scatter.
Here we go.